Welcome to That Bible Guy, where we equip God's people to share. We continue our series today of Objections to the Bible series, and today we are pressing on very fast, number 5. So the fifth most common objection to the Bible, which I've heard. How are you engaging with this series so far? How are you finding this series so far? Please let me know. Please also let me know just what do you think is going to be in the top 4 objections to the Bible? This is a list I've made myself based on experience and time and conversations that I most commonly hear. But no doubt you may agree or you may have some differences. Let me know how you experience that or what experiences you've had. And also, as I said before, if you want to get the follow-up video on these that will be coming shortly, where we engage in conversations, join up to the community online, the Patreon community of That Bible Guy, and you'll see the link just below. Number 5 objection to the Bible: miracles. Miracles. You've no doubt heard about miracles. Because of this outlandish miracle in the Bible, I simply can't believe it or take it seriously. My wife came to me one time and said, one of her friends had said, "What's that Jonah and the fish all about? I mean, these are childhood nursery rhymes. These are not stories to be taken seriously. Surely you don't believe that," was the way that their friend had put it to her. And I, on the street, many times have heard stories about, really, he created it all in 7 days. He made the donkey speak. He made all that food for 5,000 people. I mean, there's any number of different objections to certain miracles that you can hear. And you know what? Maybe sometimes we can get embarrassed by them. And maybe sometimes we have struggled with them ourselves. Maybe it was the donkey when donkey was speaking, and you thought, really? Can that really happen? Did that really happen? But you know what? You aren't alone if you ever do feel embarrassed by these. We're going to look at today why we shouldn't feel embarrassed by the miraculous of God. But even theologians in the past did and tried to dismiss miracles of the Bible. Rudolf Bultmann was one from the early 1900s who wrote with a belief in God, but trying to argue that the miracles didn't happen. Even more familiar philosophers, theologians later on, David Hume, had also wrote earlier than this about the idea that the miracles were not to be taken literally. So this has been a way of Christians in the past who also felt, whoa, can I be confident these really happened? Some of the skepticism also came from the Enlightenment in Europe in the 17th century, around the time of Isaac Newton, who wrote about the laws of motion, the cause and effect, the scientific laws that govern the world. And this, to some people, with the rise of deism, which is the belief that God created the world and then went off and left it, wound it up and then went off and left, these miraculous things can't happen. It happens, God's left it alone. He isn't intervening, and therefore it can't happen. As we know, theism often in some people's cases led to deism, and then in some people's naturally follows, then comes atheism. If you start with one wrong view, it often leads to the others. But that's a separate point for another day. 4 points. How we answer the objection: miracles are nonsense, and therefore I can't take the Bible seriously. The first point that we need to, how we would respond to someone with that skepticism about miracles in the Bible. First point: the reason often people reject miracles is because of a prior held belief that they have about something else that makes it impossible for them to believe in miracles. In other words, to put it simply, it all comes down to whether you believe in God or not. The minute you discount God as being possible or real, the minute miracles cease to be possible. And what that often ends up in with many people I've spoken to is this idea of philosophical naturalism, scientific naturalism, the idea that nature, the physical beings, is all there is. There's nothing supernatural about the world. It's all scientifically measurable. That's all we have in the world. Nothing happens outside of. I only believe in science. We'll cover that maybe in the top 4, but we only believe in science. Miracles can't happen. Now, the problem with this viewpoint is the people who say they're scientific naturalists can't and don't actually live this way themselves, because they hold to many things that science cannot prove. Again, we may look at this again. There are many things that cannot be proven by science. Science is a repeated empirical experiment that proves something because it happens consistently and that can be measured. Logic cannot be measured empirically and repeated in an experiment. We accept that it's there. Mathematics can't be proven by science. Love, justice, and mercy, morality, ethics. Science itself cannot be proven by science, and it cannot be proven to be the only thing that we can accept. It's an untestable hypothesis, and it simply is not the way we live our life. We live by many things that cannot be proven, tested, or demonstrated by science. How can science prove that miracles can't happen? It can't. It can't prove something that's outside of its scope. Science itself is outside of its own scope in that sense. So what I would do with a person who says this is, and this is a hypothetical, well, let me just say this for a moment. If there was a God who existed, and I know most people could, apart from very hardened atheists, could go there with you for a moment. Look, let's just say God does exist, right? Let's just say he created the world, God exists, he made you and me. Could he not part the Red Sea? Could he not enable an animal to speak just for a moment? Could he not, fill in the gap? Of course he could. If the God who made the laws of physics and gravity and the world all around us, the all natural laws that we are governed by, could he not suspend them for a moment in any way that he saw fit? He certainly could. And I know that most people hypothetically could get to that point where they agree with you. Most scientific naturalists, and here's an interesting point, hold to some kind of supernatural reality already. Many people I've spoken to, people who would define themselves as scientific naturalists, people who don't believe in God, believe this matter is all there is. Many of them people I've spoken to hold to some type of supernatural reality. Some of them believe in angels. Some of them believe in another world out there. Some of them hold to the idea, although they don't want to agree with my God, to a divine being, or many divine beings, many gods, or someone who's died has gone to a better place. Many people who hold to these beliefs that miracles can't happen, they sound like nonsense. They themselves hold to supernatural realities. Are you saying to me, this is the one who objects, are you saying to me that all there is physical matter and that is entirely it? It's just us, physical matter, we decay in the grave and that's it. No judgment to come, no afterworld, no one who's died has gone before. We're never going to remember anyone. We're never going to see anyone again. Are you saying you believe in that? The reality of atheism cannot be lived out in practice. So the first thing, prior held belief stops people from actually believing in it. So we need to investigate the prior held belief. Second thing, miracles have a purpose. And this is an answer to the question, well, if there are miracles like there are in the Bible, why don't I see them today? Miracles had always got a purpose. God demonstrated himself in some supernatural way, as he is a supernatural being, by dividing seas, by conquering armies, by doing things to help and heal his people. He did it for a purpose and a reason. He also did it, Jesus also did it, to give people faith, to reveal himself in a way that demonstrated that he was who he claimed to be. And we're going to see that right now with Jesus. Jesus done many miracles in the New Testament, and they were always done with a purpose, so that his people would believe in him. You may not believe in what I'm saying, he said, but at least believe in the evidence of the miracles. So, the second thing is that the miracles are done with a purpose, so they're not just going to spring up randomly at any time, and in fact, maybe the purposes have already been achieved. So the second thing, miracles. The first thing, the prior held belief. Second thing is they're done for a purpose. Third thing is evidences of Jesus' miracles. So we see the evidence from Jesus' miracles. And this is pretty incredible evidence in terms of supporting the idea of biblical miracles. The evidence that we have supports that Jesus did miracles. Jesus did his miracles publicly, often in front of hundreds of people, sometimes in the breaking of bread and feeding with loaves and fishes, thousands of people. Jesus did his miracles in front of thousands of people, and they went round talking about the miracles that he was doing. He didn't do them in a corner somewhere, so people had the opportunity to refute what he was doing. Where are the records of his contemporaries claiming that what he did was a hoax? Where are they? They don't exist. There's no one has any records out there that say Jesus was a fake in terms of his miracles. And in fact, we meet the total opposite scenario. There's multiple non-Christian hostile witness evidence supporting that Jesus was a doer of miracles. Josephus, a Jewish historian, wrote about Jesus who was a doer of wonderful works. We read about the Talmud, the Jewish Talmud, which talked about Jesus was the one who practiced sorcery. They claimed, like the Pharisees did in Matthew 12, verse 22, that he did it by the power of Satan, though. But they still, nonetheless, acknowledged that he did miraculous deeds. Celsus also claims that Jesus did miracles, but done them through sorcery. So they may argue about the source of the power, but they don't argue with the power. They don't argue with the fact that he did miracles. Jesus, his enemies, those enemies of Christianity, all confirm historically that Jesus was the doer of miracles. And also we have many New Testament documents that back up also the miracles that Jesus did, written by people who died for belief in that. The ultimate miracle being the resurrection. An incredible, objective, verifiable evidence that the Bible in 1 Corinthians 15 says, if this didn't happen, this miracle, the resurrection, it's all a waste of time. Stop watching this video. What I'm saying is nonsense. Doesn't add up. If it didn't happen, forget it. It's all based on a miracle. The last thing to say then, so the fourth thing, so a prior held belief stops people believing in the miracles. Miracles had a purpose. The evidence for Jesus' miracles is very, very strong. And the last thing to say is, to the skeptic of miracles in the Bible, are you sure that there's no miracles today? Are you really sure that there's no miracles today? Even in this lockdown, I could have a list of things that people in their lives feel were miracles. I have been on the receiving end of what I believe were miraculous answered prayers. I've seen things answered that can only be described as miraculous. No human being on this planet could persuade me against that view. And I've seen answered prayers. I've seen lives transformed, including my own. I've seen the testimony of people whose circumstances changed miraculously in incredible ways. People who've been healed even from the coronavirus, who were in a very, very serious condition indeed. Again, incredible miracles. That skeptic, do they want to go out to the world and say that miracles still do not happen? Because I honestly do believe that God does miracles, maybe not in the same way that we see in the Bible often, although we would never say that he wouldn't. As Christians, I asked myself the question this morning when I read about the miracle of Jesus walking on water and also in spreading the loaves and the fishes, and I thought, why did he do miracles? And one of the miracles we see him asking Philip, how are we going to feed these people? He wanted to test him even though he knew what he was going to do. As Christians, I think we need to ask ourselves, why did he do some of the miracles? Well, what I thought today for myself was, he did them for me to know that he can do miracles. His followers knew he can do miracles. We follow a God that can do miracles. He wants us to know that he can do miracles. We have to pray for mountains to move. We have to pray for miracles to take place. I asked myself this morning, do I believe, am I praying for miracles? We are very, very blessed that we can do this. Hope you've enjoyed this video today. Just to run through the denial of biblical miracles, 4 points to think about. It's because a person often has a prior held belief that may be unexamined. The miracles were done for a reason, for a good purpose, There's evidence for Jesus' miracles that he did that are testified and supported. And the fourth thing is, there really are miracles today. And we need to live as Christians like miracles can happen. So if you like this video, please hit the like button. Please share it on for other people. Please subscribe if you haven't already to that Bible Guy. Share this on for other people. And also just if you want to sign up to the ministry to get extra videos on discussing these topics, sign up on Patreon. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate your support so much. We're going to go next with number 4 on our Objection series. So as we always say, let's get his word out there.